All right, well, I might as well get started. Kind of a weird time of day for me to be doing a live stream, but I feel like I need to do so. It's funny, as I was preparing some of this, looking up some things, I received a tweet from a friend asking me just about the issue here that I'm going to bring up here shortly. Hello, everyone, as you come in. Today is the 8th of April, 2021. I'm Roy Potter, and this is an impromptu because of some things that are happening I think are causing me to necessitate saying a few things like it matters anyway. But anyway, welcome as you come in. The chat is on. I'm probably not going to engage in it. I'm busy uploading chapters, reading the chapters to my the Crimson Thread book because people have wanted it up. I'm not doing the best job. I'm definitely not a professional uh, audible reader, so to speak. But at any rate, it'll be up. And as I explain in the playlist, when you go to this channel and you look under playlist, you'll see the Crimson Thread reading. And like I say, it's got now the initial one, the historical lecture, and the reading of the introduction. The introduction and the prologue, and then it starts and it goes through chapter 1 through chapter 4 so far. But there are 14 chapters, so I've got a long way to go. I'm going to do chapter 5 this afternoon and hopefully get it up. Okay. Um, Angel Frank, well, I don't know about Utah. Let me talk about that some other time. There are good spots and there are bad spots. The government's a problem because of who runs it. But at any rate, I've talked about it before. I'll try to talk about it a little bit later. Okay. Um, so at any rate, you can go and hear the book as I read it. And you might wonder, why am I doing TCT now? And that was the title of this video. Why the TCT now and the AC? The AC means the Antichrist. And the reason why is because I don't see any other way of preparing for what's here. It's not coming any longer. It's here. If you're watching what's happening, it's very obvious. World leaders are all in line. Wars are starting. And I'm going to cover some of that real quick here. They're persecuting Christians everywhere. Nowhere is out of sight or out of mind anymore. They come looking for you if they need to, and they're using the 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 current medical crisis supposedly to justify it, which is all hogwash. I will obviously you know about what's going on with the Grace Life Church up in Alberta. The police are now the Gestapo. The police are now the Stasi. The police are now the KGB. The police are not out there to protect you and your rights. Not that they ever were, but they are now working directly against you for and in behalf of the tyrants who are pushing this thing. And very few of them either are inclined to not do it, or they're of the generation that has been brainwashed, and they're so concerned, of course, also with their pensions and their pay, that they're willing to do anything that they're told to do, and then think that they can blame it on those who are ordering to do it. So we are in a lot of trouble. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. So I wanted to bring that up. I'm not going to cover the Grace Life Church in Alberta to any great extent. You just know the pastor was jailed. He got out, and then they started having. They never did stop having the congregation get together, but now the police have come and put up a fence barrier, closed it up. It's just silly. It's no different than what the Romans were trying to do to the Jews and the Christians in the first and second and third centuries. It's no different. It's no different. It's the same thing. Same thing they've done in Russia, the same thing that the government's done in China, except now they can blame it using plausible deniability and health regulations. They can use that to now try to justify it, and we need to stand up against it, just like the people of the Grace Life Church did in Alberta there. They're attacking our Second Amendment. We knew that was going to happen. uh, the Communist Chinese, I brought this up back after that little incident at the Sandy place, in Connecticut back a few years ago. I told you shortly after that China came out and told Obama that he needs to take immediate action to disarm the American people. So any disarmament that you see going on is because communist leftists, Chinese, etc., are pushing it, because a disarmed American public an American public that can be taken over. And unfortunately, there's nobody in your government. I mean, nobody who's out there defending you the way it needs to be done. All they do is talk. Now, who set this up? Well, it's been going on for a long time. But when Trump went out and did that bump stock ban, now, if anybody in the Republican Party goes against what Biden's doing, he'll say, "Hey, you didn't disagree with it when Trump did it. You see why Trump was a he was a sleeper agent. He was a Trojan horse, and he brought us to the present point now. The society shut down, people losing their jobs, their money, their bank accounts, their lives even, because they can't stand what's happened. Well, he set us on this course, and all of you who sit there and defend him, and you know who I'm talking about, I mean all of them, he is to blame, a large part of the blame for where we are right now. Biden's just mopping up the resistance. That's all he's doing. That's all he's doing. And yes, I'm very angry. So now the attack on the Second Amendment is full throttle. And ladies and gentlemen, we're heading down a road of no return. But I've known that for a long time. I've been warning about it, and people were saying I was a conspiracy theorist. I didn't know what I was talking about, that I was a hope destroyer. I had one guy say I'm a destroyer of hope. Hey, no, the destroyer of hope is you, because the people that depended upon these politicians to do what they said they were going to do and then let them off the hook are the problem. And I've been telling people, retired military, retired police, conservatives, everybody, you've got to get on Trump's ass. And they didn't. And now, of course, they can say, oh, look at how terrible Biden is. Well, you know where I stand. We're here because our own people betrayed us. The people that said that they were our champions betrayed us. I'm not surprised. The scriptures told us this was going to happen. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Okay, if you go and you get the GMI, you are required to sign a form. If you will remember, I gave a video, I think it was a live stream, I'm not sure, but I did a video on the mark and what worship actually means, okay? I told you. And in that video, it's a couple back, I told you that the word for worship in Greek is there's two parts to it, but the core is pros. Pros means contract. The idea of worship doesn't mean you have to get down and kiss somebody's feet and bow down to them. That's symbolic of your submission, of your obedience. And a contract is this, pardon me, drank some chai tea, and so I'm burping up a little bit. A contract is a form of worship because you're under Hebraic thought, because you are submitting yourself to these people. So when you go and you sign that form to get that GMI, guess what you're doing? You're performing a worship of that beast and that system that's putting it into place. Sorry, that's just the case. Go check out the contract. I was going to put it up here, but it's on my phone, so I can't show it to you. But any of you who've gotten it or know people that have gotten it, they've had to sign that release form. It basically says that even if they die, they can't hold anybody accountable for it. And they agreed everything. I mean, it's a contract. It's a form of worship. Okay? I got to tell you that. Again, I told you about it. It's words 4352 in the Greek part of Strong's, and also 4314, and also in the Hebrew 7812. I told you about all that. So, any idea that worshiping the image of the beast means that you've got to get out there and perform a congregational, get together and worship or bow down to a statue? No, the contract in and of itself is a form of worship. Submission, obedience is a form of worship. I wanted to bring up that real quick. Looks like war with Russia is slowly boiling up here. I don't know where this is going to go. A lot of this is just to get the people upset. As I've long said, they're hitting us from every single angle to frustrate us and to wear us out so that we will submit without any problem. Threat of war is always a way to get people to come together, even if your own government's a tyrant and taking away all your, not protecting your God-given liberties, but actually violating them. And that's exactly what's happening. Will we go to war with China? I think it'll be a show. I doubt that it'll be a serious thing. There might be a little conflict there in the South China Sea, maybe over Taiwan, but we're not going to do much about it. We might get involved a little bit, But I think Biden's backed off, and that was the point. He is an agent for the New World Order and for this whole thing coming down. And don't tell me if Trump had got in there to be any different. No, he set this whole thing up. Trump was the guy in the volleyball game that sets the serve up. Once the serve is done, it goes to the other side. The ball comes over and he pumps it up so that the guy can jam it down. I forget what that's called. Jam it down on the other side so nobody can stop it. Trump did set this up for Biden and for the leftist communists. Okay, I've already explained why I've done the Spike. Thank you, Justin. I'm trying. I want to get this. Like I said, I just finished chapter 4 this morning. I had a problem with my mic. I did the first half of the read and then realized that my mic wasn't working correctly. So I had to fix that. And then the second half, the mic is working. But I got that up. It just went up on YouTube, and I want to get chapter 5 done this afternoon too. And I might even actually change venues or environment. I'm thinking about maybe going out to a river, maybe doing a reading there, maybe out to the Salt Lake, which of course is like the Dead Sea in Israel and Jordan. So we'll see. But I'm thinking about doing some readings out away from the black background that I'm doing it in now, because the lighting's bad and I have a hard time seeing. I finally had to put on my glasses and bring in another light. Oh, it's been crazy. But anyway, so that's why I'm kind of rushing through this, because I just wanted to get this information out. And there's so much more I could talk about. But disarming you, forcing you. In Europe now, the European court has now said that they can mandate anybody, the governments can mandate these things, and there's nothing you can do about it. This is an attack on us, on every human being. And if you don't know what this thing is, then you've got to find out. I'm not going to cover it here for obvious reasons. Okay, I probably said too much already. Okay, I want to get into something here because I think it's important. Again, I was talked into doing the reading of the Crimson Thread, the book I wrote and published back in 2005, 2006 about historical events in first century Palestine and Judea and Galilee. I've mentioned it, and people finally said, we really want it. It's not in print, so that's why I'm reading it. And I have a friend who is probably going to put it on a website with the manuscript. Now, it's the first edition manuscript. Same thing as from the book that I'm reading. I did do a second edition where I did a lot of corrections on spellings, punctuation, little minor errors like that. The first edition, all those mistakes are still there, but it'll be probably available to you in a written form at some point. You'll actually hear me stumble around when I'm reading because I realize that it's a mistake, but I figure it's best not to change it at this point, not during the reading. We'll just do it later. What is the name of the new Messiah they announced? I wouldn't worry about it. That's a distraction. That's a total distraction. The Jewish people think that they are the Messiah without metaphor. Okay, it's in the Talmud. They do believe that there's going to be a Mashiach, but this is all a distraction. And I don't want to get there right now. It's just Ben David. No, that's not his name. What that is that's a title. Mashiach Ben David is a title. His name, whatever his name is, I forget right now. But if whatever his name is, it's I should remember. But I mean, the Ben David is just a title. Okay, that's not his name. All right. But talking about that again, I'm doing the recording of the Crimson Thread because we really have no way out of what's here. I've said it before. I read it in Jeremiah. I told you that there's nothing you can do to stop this. God has allowed this to set in motion, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. The only thing that you can do is prep, pray, and do your best to stay out of the way. Ask God to protect you and your loved ones and to show you a land of refuge. That's going to be tough. I do it every day. But that's all. There's nothing you can do to stop it. The wicked will destroy the wicked. They're on their path. They're showing that they're going to fill up the cup of their iniquity and their evil to overfilling it, over the brim. And there's nothing we're going to be able to do to stop it. We just got to try to avoid their poisons and their murders and their thievery. Get together with like-minded people and all that. So I decided to do the reading of the Crimson Thread because we've been told so many errors, and people get mad at me for saying this. Oh, you can't question the scriptures the way they're written. Oh no, I'm just supposed to throw out the history about the people who won the wars back in the first and second century. I'm just supposed to throw that away and not think that they didn't interfere and do things to the scriptural record for their benefit? Of course they did. The winners write history. So I balance all of that out. I love the scriptures, but I also realize that there's things in there, like Romans 13, for instance, and I've also pointed out the thing about marriage and male and female. I've talked about those things to show you that things aren't what they appear to be and that we've gone down many times the wrong road. I don't care if I'm going to piss off a lot of Christians, whatever denomination they are. That's why I think the Crimson Thread is necessary now, to see how people thought in the first century. Am I absolutely 100% correct? If I said that, I deny my training in history, because nobody's 100% correct unless you live in the time. And even then, you can't quite tell. But there are evidences that you can pull on, and the Crimson Thread does that. And it's going to upset a lot of people. But it's taken from an historical perspective, not faith-based. There is some stuff in the New Testament in there, but it's balanced against what we know in the historical record as well, which is there isn't a lot of it, at least not as far as the person of Jesus is concerned. About everything surrounding him, everything else that was happening, there's a lot of information, but about him specifically, not very much. But at any rate, I get into that to some extent in the Crimson Thread and show you why, because the royal line had to be destroyed and forgotten and relegated to the dustbin. Okay? Matter of fact, the lady asked this morning, what are we supposed to learn about Jesus with the way things have been? Well, I said, you might try starting to read the Crimson Thread or listening to the reading, because it gives you another view into what's really going on and all about the serpent seed and the DNA and all of that. Okay, it kind of gives you some indications about how that was going to be countered by God himself. Okay, all right. So TCT is out there. I'm working on it so that people will see possibly what paths they need to take, what questions they need to ask, what preparations they need to make to understand what's coming, and how to best survive it. Okay, and that's all in there as well. So that's the reason why I'm doing it. I think it's a good thing. And thank all of you who asked me to do it, and especially and I won't mention the name, but there was a particular person that asked me to do it, and he has really stepped up and helped me to get this done. Okay, a lot of encouragement. Okay, everybody's saying, where's the AC? Gosh, with all the things that are happening, the Antichrist was supposed to reveal himself already. He already has, ladies and gentlemen. He already has. The thing is that you are thinking that you are entitled to see who it is because of the way that you interpret when you read Revelations, Daniel, etc., Ezekiel, etc. You worship God, right? Have you ever seen God? Some of you will say you have. And I have no doubt that there are some people that have had a visitation from the Lord. I have no problem about that. But most people worship something they've never actually seen. They may feel it in their heart. They may feel a presence, but I'm talking about actually seeing God. How many of you worship God but haven't seen him, actually haven't seen him? Or even any of his representatives, angels? Almost no one has seen God or an angel. Okay, just a fact. Just a fact. And yet you still worship that idea, those attributes that you've been told about. And again, you might have convictions in your heart. My point is, you're not an eye and ear witness of God. Okay? You think Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, and his representative who represents his image on the earth, like Jesus represented God's image, you think he is going to just show everybody that person? Who is he going to show that person to? Well, we've seen it. all the leaders of the world were brought in. The governors of the United States, and I brought this up when it happened, when they had that meeting, I believe it was in Missouri, it was a secret meeting, all the governors went back about 3 years ago. And they went to the secret meeting, and then only a few came out and are even trying to oppose it. DeSantis appears to be in Florida. Nome, kind of shaky there in South Dakota. Nobody's actually standing up against it, though. Nobody. Not even them. They were shown that there's an extremely powerful entity behind this. And they were shown, I think, the person that is representing that evil entity and that wields this power. They know it. Maybe not the governors, but the leaders of the world definitely do. He has been revealed. The AC has been revealed to the world leaders. Is there anything in the scriptures that says that you will see the Antichrist? And that you will, or that the world will see the Antichrist. In other words, the population of the world. Is there anything in there that says that every person in the world will see the Antichrist and they'll be able to choose whether they can worship him or not? What did I just say about worship? It's obedience. It's submission. It's taking the attributes on yourself. It's the contract. You've watched the movies about the devil coming to some person and saying, look, I'll give you all these riches if you sign your soul over to me. A contract. That's a form of worship. Do you understand? No, he will not be revealed to anybody, not yet. But I'll tell you where he's going to be revealed. Okay? Let's go to Isaiah 14:16. All right? Isaiah 14:16. I'm going to read this to you. And if this is the case, this means that people did not know who he really was prior to him being defeated. Let's read it. Isaiah 14. Matter of fact, I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm going to go on to 13, okay? And most of you will realize that this is about, well, I'll just read it. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, which is really Hillel ben Shikar? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? What's going on right now? The pharmakia that was told about in the New Testament, the whole world would be deceived by the sorcerers, by the pharmakia, and by the man of sin. What does it mean to sit in the temple of God showing himself he is God? You worship him. You do his contract. Verse 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee, this is verse 16, the one that's critical, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world, verse 17, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nation, even all of them, he in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch. The people, when he's finally revealed to them, he's already been defeated by God. And they say, that's the guy? That's him? He's known by the world leaders. He's not going to be known by the population. Probably not. And if he is, there's going to be a big question about whether he is or if it's somebody else or this person or that person. And then at some point, when he's totally defeated, Yeah, covenant equals contract. That's right. So, who is it? Well, you know my theory. All right? The AC is here. Satan's representative is here on the earth, and he is running wild. It looks like he put his hands on the Palantir with some of the Middle Eastern leaders back in 2017. That'd be my bet, and you know that's how I feel. He's pretending to be the suffering servant of Isaiah 52. He and his minions, and I've talked about them. Plausible. Trump is not the AC. Fine. Okay, then we'll see who it is. But my point is, he's not going to be known by the population. That will be hidden just like God is hidden from you. Trump has punched most of the tickets. If he's not in the driver's seat, he's representing the person that is. And of course, Biden is. But Biden's so damn stupid and lost, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just doing what he's told. Trump, on the other hand, he knew exactly what he was doing. Okay, I'll leave it to you. You guys that know everything, I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm telling you that you've had 2,000 years of BS shoved up your ass. The pacification of the first century was a lie because the Romans had to subdue the resistance. And when the scriptures were written and they were altered to show the pacification, God doesn't expect that. Isaiah 14:16. Is this the man? Is this the man? So he wasn't well known except by the leaders of the world because he kept hidden. That's all I got. I'm going to go back. Chapter 4 is uploaded. I'm going to go read chapter 5. Okay? All right. We got to get out of the way. Y'all take care out here.